Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing the Blade itself, review of The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie. But before that, I would like to say, look out in the next couple days for a Morningstar review. Because I took so long to get the Memories of Ice review out, I figured I'd give you two ones closer together, Blade itself and the Morningstar, in a couple days. But The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie, the first law book. Like the rest of my reviews, I'm going to do a non-spoiler section and then a spoiler section. But for the non-spoiler section, it's for me, it just astounded me how good Joe Abercrombie is with characters. Like I got from his YA series, Half a King, the Shattered Sea trilogy. There was definitely some really great characters, some characters that motivations were unclear and had were, depending on your perspective, was either a good or bad person. But The Blade itself really brought it up another level of characters that, honestly, in most fantasy books, would probably be a villain, would probably be a major antagonist, but in this world, in this kind of very twisted, violent, cruel world, are very much heroes. Well, maybe not heroes, but at least protagonists. And I really enjoyed that. It was interesting to see a take of characters who are not super great. And yeah, there are a lot of books that have imperfect characters, but this is the first, really the first time where I've read a book where not just are the characters not perfect, but some of them are actually just like horrible people. Some of them are just genuinely horrible people that you still root for because you can see how they're making the best of a bad situation and still trying to do generally what's right, even when, especially when everyone around them is doing something that's especially wrong. In addition to that, I think that I enjoyed spending so much time in the Capitol. I enjoyed the political tensions and political overtones that the book had, and just the manipulation coming from all sides, not only from our protagonist, but a lot of times from other major characters in the world. That's another thing that I really found super awesome about The Blade itself. I am personally someone who likes a little bit more magic and fantasy in my fantasy series. And this book had some, but honestly, it didn't have all of it. I am definitely someone who much more, I like something with a lot more magic. And The Blade itself didn't really have that, but the other elements, the characters in the world, at least for me, kind of made up for that in a sense. I think I would have liked it a little bit better if there was more fantasy, but the very little that we got from the wizards and kind of the whole thing with the spirits was interesting enough that it did scratch a little bit of that fantasy itch for me. In addition to that, I guess overall, for the character arcs, non-spoilers for the characters. My favorite is definitely Logan Ninefingers. I'm pretty sure that's the intended purpose. We spend a lot of time with him, just seeing his reaction to this new world and how he's trying to fit in, I hate Glokta, but I can see where. But like I said, with how great his characters are, Glokta's a horrible person, and I hate him. And yet, I can genuinely see how he's a protagonist. I can genuinely see how he's someone who's trying to do the right thing, who's trying to, at least from his perspective, do something good. It doesn't stop me from hating him and think he's horrible, but there's that. And then I actually don't remember all of the. It's been a while since I've read this. Like I said, I've been busy with school. But between our two other protagonists, I genuinely, can I find his name? Giselle. Giselle. Kind of with Glokta, Giselle kind of sits between Glokta and Logan Ninefingers. I don't hate him as much as Glokta, but he is arrogant and self-righteous, and I kind of hate him for that a little bit. But he does get he gets somewhat better by the end. He's okay. And then I genuinely did forget the name of the. I genuinely did forget the name of the other girl. I'll look that up before I film my spoiler section. But I enjoyed her story too. Her skills with combat, and I just found we didn't get a ton of her, but the scenes that we did have with her were enjoyable. But that was my non-spoiler section. Like I said, I really enjoyed The Blade itself. I'm excited to check out its sequels when they come in from the library. I will say I'm even more excited given their names. Before They're Hanged in the Last Argument of Kings are probably the coolest titles I've ever heard for a book ever, and so I'm really excited for that. But I do highly recommend the Blade itself, and I will see you in a moment for my spoiler-filled thoughts. Alright, and welcome back to my spoiler section. I'm going to kind of go through all of the major arcs of the story in order to, that's kind of how I'm going to tackle it for this one, because they're all kind of distinct in their own way. So to start with is probably my favorite, which is going to be Logan Ninefingers' arc. I loved getting to see him right from that very beginning where that first chapter ends with the end, as he falls off the cliff, all the way to him meeting his trek through the forest as he's forced to confront as he's forced to try to survive, eventually meeting the mage's apprentice, and then eventually making it to the first of mages, and having to encounter this major threat of the Northmen coming, the King of the North, the Northmen coming south, and him getting to see how capable and how qualified he is, and yet how capable and how qualified he is, and I just found his past and his history super interesting. And then it just got even better as we made it into the major city, as we made it to the capital, as we made it to the capital, because I just loved seeing his wonder and everything. Like, he had never seen most of these things before, and just seeing all of it for the first time and exploring the city, I just found that super interesting. And I really loved just seeing how he reacted to all of these kind of new experiences. And like I said, I love him as a character. I mean, this gruff fighter from the north who has lived his life as a soldier, as a named man, an elite soldier whose skills in combat are second to almost none. That I love that. I loved seeing how capable he was and how he uses that capability, and yet how his capability doesn't mean as much when he's in the capital, as well. They don't the books of it. No, the books of it. As they're in the capital, and suddenly there are people to fight, but he's now suddenly in a situation where he isn't as in control. Then I guess I'll move on to Glokta's character arc, because, as I mentioned before, I hate Glokta. Glokta is a horrible person, and yet you can see throughout his stories when he's persecuting the Guild of Mercers, and then all the way through after what the head of the Guild of Mercers told him, look inside the Inquisition of who is betraying you. You can see where he's coming from. You can see somewhat why he's doing the things that he's doing, why he thinks that this is important, why he's doing what he's doing. That doesn't make him a good person. He's a horrible person. He's petty and vindictive and cruel and unnecessarily cruel, and yet Abercrombie was able to just write so well how he got this way. Not only how he got this way, but why, but forcing you to see why he's doing what he's doing. Because yes, what he's doing is horrible, and he's a horrible person, but you can see why he's doing what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing, and I liked seeing that. It was such an interesting perspective to see. So I enjoyed seeing Abercrombie's take on that. Probably the most plot dense. Glokta's story very much intertwines with kind of like the main political arcs of the novel, having with the first of mages in the city trying to figure out if he's real or not, the very surreal and kind of, even as a reader, just kind of uneasy feeling as they head into the House of the Maker. Glokta's story, for me at least, was interesting because of how it ties so much into the politics of the world and of the capital that we're dealing with at the time. And then I guess the third major character and plot point and character arc is going to be Giselle and the duel, or the challenge, sorry. And I didn't enjoy like I said, I found him arrogant, and I found him very self-righteous. But getting to see him grow, maybe not as a character, but grow a little bit throughout the story, I did enjoy that. Him learning to work for something and all of that was interesting enough. Getting to see him knocked down quite a few times was also really awesome. And then the final challenge was really great. I really enjoyed how I really enjoyed how it was written, how it was paced. It was very like my heart was racing, and I really liked that. But yeah, this is a shorter review. Like I said, I'm not as familiar because it's been like a week and a half since I finished reading this, but I just really, the characters sold this book for me. Getting to see Colonel West, who getting to see, yes, he's doing so much for his country, and how how he's a competent military leader, but he's also not a perfect person, far from it, and how he treats his sister is awful, and you hate him for it, and yet you're seeing all that he's going through and all that he's trying to do, and you hate him at the same time as wanting to like him. And that's just every character in this book. There's so many different parts. They're so deep. They're deep and complex, and it was interesting to read. There are characters that I wanted to like that I hated, and characters that I hated that I wanted to like, or in all ranges in between. That's really what I took away from the Blade itself. Is just character depth was amazing. I am excited to read the next book. They look like they're all going in very separate ways. A lot of the characters are going in separate ways, but I am enjoying Joe Abercrombie's writing. Like I said, I had to take a break because none of his other books would get in from the library. But I'm really enjoying how well Abercrombie writes characters, and I'm excited to read Before They're Hanged. But that was my review of The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie, the first law book. And like I said, please stay tuned for hopefully a Morningstar review later this week. Check out some of my other videos if you would like more book reviews, and hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more content. If you have any books that you think I should read next, put them in the comments down below. And I thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.